It's Thursday, February 10th, 2022. I'm watching the television this morning, same CBS this morning, programming that I normally watch. This morning, however, in some kind of shocking turn of events, Tony DeCoppola is on with a news person from the weekend show. Apparently something happened with Gail. She's in a mobilized unit. And something happened with this guy, Vlad. He's in some he's whatever. They were exposed to COVID somehow. So so they're covering some things in an interesting way. One of them happens to be for direct message, how security is working in the quiet background of details for the Super Bowl, which I thought was interesting. I also noticed that one of the people, as part of this like outer team of quiet individuals that move without direct communication, some have direct communication, but they also just move in teams that then have some form of whatever that communicates. I noticed that one of them refers to themselves as agent. Now, I had an agent label on my name, but it was not in front of my name, it was after my name. And then I put on my personal electronic device my whatever in whatever to keep one thing separate from another. But I always went by real estate agent. Totally different than something that I've seen now on this television that's employed that goes by agent first and then its name. Or whether it's a man or a woman, again. So, now, I'm going to do the overlay parlay for confirmation of that's what I saw this morning. However, one of the commercials, now I just did a little piece on a snow pile that I found where there's accumulated particulate and stuff mixed in with the snow, which is a little weird because I don't know if it's falling from the sky, if it's a crosswind that brings the debris up to like breathing height. I'm not quite sure. I just kind of documented it and put it to the side, just as one of those things that I caught and I was just like, I don't know what to do with. But there's a television commercial. I don't know if they call it commercial, advertising, a spot, acknowledgement. I don't know how the humans at like FCC filter how they what they call the words in their, they do this as a profession, but they have something called shingles, SHINGLES. I know back in the day my grandmother and my mom used to say something about like you hang a shingle. I don't know what that really means in actuality. I think that was before like business licenses or whatever. But the TV commercial is showing what I've been describing with the biochemical disparity between electrolytes and something more spatially dimensioned outside, and an interaction. They start the commercial with almost like a cellular envelope, like, and it says, dramatization, individual experience may vary, but the commercial does show almost like the electric interaction of, they're calling the disease shingles, But it's not just a biology disease. If you take a holistic approach, it's an interactive human to outside environment disease. And then this is some of the symptoms that the symptom doctors collect in their medical practice on human conditions, and then report the human conditions to more specialized whatever elsewhere in some form of communication. I'm just not quite sure how that works.
Like pulsing electric shocks, sharp stabbing pains, or an intense burning sensation. What is this nightmare? It's how some...
This and this is what living in this inside this human condition feels like. It's not a dramatization for me. It's the trauma, and then it's somebody put it into artistic form, so I didn't have to be exposed, but somebody put it there. I know what it relates to. I have it going on myself. And this is a perfect picture. I don't work in the athletics field. I was not gifted with a sponsorship and someone who wanted to see me succeed in staying physically active and fit. Just wasn't. I haven't been integrated into a lot of different things for whatever reason, unbeknownst to myself. But this being left in the field this way, archangel, yeah. This is what the treatment of what I feel like has been since I arrived in 1978. It's gotten steadily worse. This more so early 90s. Once decade 9 rolled in 19th century, I didn't get this type of this happened in 20th century, second decade, but the electric shocks and stuff have been going on, and I've been silent about it because I don't know where to report it for a long time. And then it's one of those things where you get shocked all the time. It almost becomes, if you can believe it or not, like normal, but it's not. It's still malnormal, but...
Some people describe shingles, a painful, blistering rash that can interrupt your life for weeks. Forget social events and weekend getaways. If you've had chickenpox, the virus that causes shingles is already inside of you. If you're 50 years or older, ask your doctor or pharmacist about shingles.
And it's easy to get a quote at libertymutual.com. So you only...
That's how they explain it. I don't agree with some of that commercial, but how does this feel? It feels like electric shock therapy and the electrolyte chemistry being tuned off. So this way there's a lot of different between convection, between acidic cooking or charring or whatever, and then you've got the pressurized differentials. It's a whole swarm of different biological and environmental or ecological interactions that are a plague at the moment, or plaguing the system. But I don't get stuck or hung up on one particular whatever, because there is overlapping.
Morning around here at CBS Mornings. You saw Gail earlier. She is in a mobile van out of an abundance of caution. She had a COVID exposure. While we were in the show, we found out Vlad had that same exposure, so it's working its way around. And we are negative, and so we are together here. We're going to carry on the show.
And we have a lot to get to.
We do.
Super Bowl 56 drawing a huge crowd. We're going to talk about security coming up.
Stay with us. And stay safe.
Now's the time for cleaner indoor air.
And this is the kind of life frame I live in, my ignoring human condition, but observing respectfully. This would be a really good determination of how I live.
Plus,
We are here. For new homeowners, a football game can really bring out the parent in them.
it's smart we park near the exit.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That way,
Let's put away the parking talk maybe for a minute.
Parking is where the money is, though. You imagine what this place pulls in on parking alone?
All right, no more talking about parking lots.
a lot of these are compact spots.
It's not pretty.
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
We still planning to head out around the third quarter?
Let's not talk about leaving before we're actually at the game.
To Beth.
That's it. Nothing more exciting than that. And that's just the static way it's been in this human condition where I got this going on. I'm just whatever. Now, they've been preparing, they said yesterday, for 2 years before this event goes on. It's what the human condition is stating, whether it's accurate or true or not.
Threats. Earlier, we told you about a DHS warning that truckers may try to block traffic around the stadium. Carter Evans spoke exclusively with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas about the preparations, and he got a first-hand look from the sky and the sea. This morning, he's outside SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, just outside LA. Carter, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tony. On Sunday, tens of thousands of fans will descend here on SoFi Stadium. But what they may not see are the thousands of members of federal and local law enforcement that are working around the clock to keep the Super Bowl and the surrounding areas safe. 1,500 feet above Los Angeles, agents from Customs and Border Protection are on patrol in Black Hawk helicopters.
When you're in the air here, what are you looking for?
I have never seen them mention on the TV Black Hawk helicopter. Those sounds brand new on this type of informational program to the couch potato perspective for this area.
That just seems suspicious or odd.
And the security perimeter for the big game extends miles beyond SoFi Stadium.
There are Super Bowl events all over this city, and Customs and Border Protection is watching over all of it. The crew in this helicopter is looking for small aircraft moving low and slow that could be a threat.
Any aircraft that looks like it's heading toward our temporary flight restriction area, they're going to vector our aircraft to go investigate the situation.
Now that's an interesting word, vector, V-E-C-T-O-R. I don't hear that ever coming from this television. It's not a local word. It's also not something Lou and Lynn speak ever. It's for me, it's a high scientific word that I use sparingly, almost like in an emergency situation you use your best kept whatever. The vector is one of those science principle pieces of pearls of wisdom I keep in a pocket and I only take out when it's like really important whatever.
Does that pose any specific challenges when you have to keep such a large area secure?
I think the logistics are incredibly challenging.
In an exclusive one-on-one interview, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas gave us a glimpse behind the scenes, where every day up to 400 trucks are x-rayed at the secure compound.
There are security efforts, both seen and unseen. More than 2,000 people working 24/7 to make sure that 70,000 people will watch the Super Bowl and enjoy it safely and securely.
I feel that's kind of how living in any of the cities around here Like, that's, when I say it's my false sense of security, I know they exist. I know they're hidden in the recesses, doing their superhero work quietly, reporting to wherever they're supposed to be reporting to, but I don't have their special agent, like, names or occupational respectful term. Like, I went to public school in a really watered down, really, it was a fallout shelter. I mean, it was like the worst of the worst for linguistical prowess, and like building a library of respectable terms or what possible industry or sector to vector myself and orientate myself in that conversation. It's been really difficult because I didn't even know there was no like even career prep like this was available. Like, none of that existed. I mean, they didn't even talk about, in my education, in my life frame, they didn't even talk about men and women out there somewhere. They didn't give names, titles, like, or labels. They did not build a picture of what, outside of my POV, what just outside that's in a concentric circle of safety procedures. There was no sector labeling to give the children, meaning myself included, a clear sightline or guideline of how to interact with concentric circles should something arise. I'm finding the same issue with my son, my last one, the 2012 calendar baby. There's nothing concentrically built. It exists. I know they exist. Just for the children growing up today within this system, there's guideline, sightline, vocabulary is not being given to the children, at least my child, of who is working on their benefit and how to interact safely and when they're needed for feedback or for however that loop of participation is required or needed of them or by them for the professionals.
And guarding the California coastline is part of the mission. SoFi Stadium is many miles that way. What's the concern out here on the water?
We feel we're that first line of defense for any threat that could be coming in from offshore.
Agent Evan Wagley took us out on one of CBP's hot...
See, he's what's called an agent, A-G-E-N-T, before his, I guess, born name or his day label, I don't know. But I was given the agent name behind, inside of a sector industry called real estate. They use salesperson and agent almost interchangeably.
High-speed boats where they patrol waters off the massive ports of LA and Long Beach.
This 1,400 horsepower boat can go up to 70 miles per hour. Its speed is important because if they see a suspicious vessel, they've got to be fast enough to catch it.
Now, I've been on this, well, without this, but I've been on this level of boat. I can count it on my hands how many times in my life frame. It has not been many. And it's mostly been since Tiafrio 1975 showed up. But for the most part, I have no water access. I mean, there's been no water access other than since the year that Tiafrio 1975 showed up was 2010. So after 2010, he has people who have access to the water. I didn't. Not growing up and not in my adult and young adulthood.
Obviously, if there's any boats that stick out to us, we're going to go board those. But we're also going to board the ones that may not seem out of place.
And to find them, they can downlink video from aircraft overhead.
If they feel that there's a boat out of place, they can vector us into that area and we can stop them and board them as well.
And less than a week away from the game, new potential threats arise daily. The anti-vax trucker rally in Canada, they've made some threats to come down here. Are you prepared for that?
Individuals have a perfect right to exercise their First Amendment rights. Once they intervene in other people's freedoms and liberties, it becomes a more complicated landscape. But we're working with law enforcement to address any eventualities.
Now, in a bulletin obtained by CBS News, the Department of Homeland Security is warning that a convoy of truckers could lead to gridlock here in Los Angeles, and that could impact the Super Bowl. The agency, though, does describe the plans as aspirational and says there are no plans of violence, but of course they are prepared for anything. Dana?
Well, I mean, aren't Los Angelinos used to gridlock?
Yeah, very true. And in that area,
Yes.
Especially they are.
Carter, I gotta say, you're looking like Agent Evans there in the helicopter and on the boat. You might have missed her calling.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Carter, thank you very much. You know, Super Bowls, having covered so many of them.
I don't get the Agent Evans. That has no urban context for me. It's most likely one of those things I missed along the way, and I have nobody to ask or reference.
Many of them, that preparation starts so far in advance, and you forget about so many of those people who are working to make sure that we are safe.
It is so important. It's a post 9/11 reality.
Without a doubt. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Super Bowl, tomorrow on CBS.
I have no idea what that post 9/11 reality means. Like, I know the towers went down. That's a fact that I can see. Whatever happened after that I was held away from yet again in the same area, I have no idea. Because there was no participation with the locals. Like, there's very real concentric circles that are employed that are far more advanced, and I have no idea what to call it, some other reality, but in the parking lot of like good citizens just waiting to be called upon and to be informed of things, we're just checking out economy spots and how far measuring the distance to like where we parked. How are we gonna come out and not be disoriented? I mean, keep them busy, but like, I don't know what else to do.
CBS Mornings, we're going to have, I'm not even going to say a little Super Bowl fun, a lot of Super Bowl fun. It is time for our annual Super Bowl City Showdown. As the Rams and Bengals get ready to duke it out on the gridiron, Michelle Miller and I kind of did it on the streets of LA.
Gridiron. I don't know what she means by that, because my interpretation at Vector and whatever she just said, I don't know what she knows. So then that gets complicated. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And if it's 7 gamma, if it's 7 uppercase gamma, and I'm in a reverse gable, like somebody pulled the gable down, and now I'm like, that's what it feels like. I don't know how to explain what a reverse cable pulled down feels like. And I'm not supposed to explain it to humans in this condition. So we'll just leave it at that.